The Truth. What's going on, y'all, man? Welcome back to another episode of The Truth with Najeh Wilkins, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Is that me? Sorry, y'all. So what's on my nose? But what's going on, y'all, man? We back with another episode, man. Hope you guys are doing well today, man. It's Wednesday night. So y'all know what time it is, man. It's time to give y'all the college football and all the latest that's going on in the college football landscape and world, right? Obviously, we'll hit 16 we always talk about. Georgia, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, Texas, Alabama, and Georgia, obviously, of course. And then we'll get, obviously, to start off the show always with the national college football news, latest headlines, biggest games, all that good stuff, man. And then we'll keep it rolling and going all the way through, man. So let's start with the latest college football news. And it's Brendan Sorsby, man. Brendan Sorsby and the latest that's going on with him. And it's a very intriguing situation. The fate of Brendan Sorsby sits in the hands of an alum of Texas Tech. Can't believe I'm saying that. But it always seems to be the case that we see these kind of situations pan out, and we always see, right, a judge or an alumni of Texas Tech or an alumni of a certain school is going to be obviously at the forefront of a major decision, right? So he has a bachelor's degree and a law degree from Texas Tech, Judge Philip Hayes. He's now going to decide the future of Brendan Sorsby. And it's very interesting because this situation has continued to develop, right? He's filed a lawsuit against the NCAA to expedite his reinstatement process. Expedite basically means like, hey, man, how do you guys put, dragging your feet on this? How you guys taking your time? Expedited means like I want to kind of speed up this process. I want this to go faster. I need to know, right? Because we're finna get into summer training, summer workouts, and then fall camp. I want to know what the status is of my situation. There's also been news that he could even potentially go into the NFL supplemental draft as well if he is not reinstated for this upcoming season. So there's a lot going on here. And with Sorsby, it's definitely a whole interconnected web of things that he's done, right? Also, he's betted on Roman soccer games, Turkish basketball league, hot dog eating contests, obscure double tennis matches. So a whole bunch of different things that Sorsby has obviously betted on. But I don't think that per se is a problem. I know people are like, well, if you're college athlete, you shouldn't bet at all. I feel y'all on that. This type of stuff I don't really care about. But when you start kind of compromising the integrity of the game and you playing with Indiana, you placing bets, or you playing with Cincinnati and placing bets on that game, that's different. You know what I'm saying? I think that shows a whole different thing in its entirety compared to betting on these leagues you're never going to play in. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So this type of stuff I don't really care about. But it's when you're betting on your team and you're playing for them, you're a byproduct of them, and you definitely can affect the outcome of a game. That's when we're running into a problem, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. It's going to be very interesting to see what Philip Hayes is going to decide to do with Brendan Sorsby. Texas Tech Nation wants him to come back, right? Texas Tech wants him to play. Excuse me, they don't want to put it in the hands of a backup quarterback. They want their guy, Brendan Sorsby, who they paid a lot of money to, $5 million. They want him to be suited up and booted up for week one when they start off the season, man. So it's gonna be very interesting. If you Hayes, you can be forever enshrined in Texas Tech's lore, right? Forever enshrined. If Texas Tech goes and does what they're supposed to do, you was at the forefront of that decision. And if you don't reinstate them, that's gonna bring issues and problems, and obviously different things like that. And they're gonna probably look at you a little sideways. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't reinstate Brendan Sorsby. So there's a lot on the line here for Texas Tech. A season that could potentially be lost after you invested a lot of money into this team and this program, or maybe you figure things out and Sorsby just finds his way on the field. Very important decision coming up. And we're going to see what Philip Hayes does, right, going forward, man. We will react when that whole thing comes up. There's not a lot of national news going on currently right now, right? Like I said, it's the off season for college football. It's very slow. It's going to probably pick up towards the summer. Obviously, you have the media days. It'll be a frenzy, a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. But right now, fairly slow, to say the least. Fairly slow. But we'll see what happens with the Brendan Sorsby situation. A good icebreaker to kind of start off the show, guys. All right, hold on one second. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that, man. Nose kind of allergies messing up a little bit, but that's the latest on Sorsby. All right. No other major college football news outside of that. But what we're going to look at next, guys, is we're going to look at what's going on right now with the official weekend visitors. Official visit weekend is here. All right, so we're going to look at the list of guys. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to you, let you guys subscribe, man. I'm going to try not to do on three dirty, you know what I'm saying, in terms of revealing the whole list. But I will tell you guys the names if you ain't already subscribed. So basically, the official weekend visitor is supposed to be Nigel Newkirk of Gainesville High School, obviously outstanding running back for the Red Elephants. Monshun Sales, who is currently predicted to land and end up with Indiana. Osani Gayles of IMG Academy. Colt Lupris of Lawrenceville School in Trenton, New Jersey. They have Malik Howard, Oak Ridge High School in Tennessee. Mitchell Turner, Louisville High School in Mississippi. AJ Pauley, St. Paul's in obviously Mobile. Donivan Moore, Hueytown High School. He's currently an Auburn commit. Antoine Jackson, Collier High School in Tennessee. Edge Frederick Ards, he is from Jones High School in Orlando. You have Kenneth Simon, he is from Brentwood Academy, currently Alabama commit. You have John Meredith, who was a big target for them. Cornerback, I think is number 3 player in the country according to 247, if I'm not mistaken, or rivals probably. North Crowley High School in Fort Worth, Texas. He is also slated to come. Hayden Stepp from Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, and then Darius White of Creekside High School, who's a major target for the Alabama Crimson Tide, will be on campus this upcoming weekend. So a very, very, very important weekend for Alabama. Several guys. My bad. I showed you guys the list. I'm supposed to show you this. But yeah, very important weekend coming up for the Alabama Crimson Tide. All their guests. That's who's slated to be there. The major targets, I think you got to know John Meredith, of course. You got to know, obviously, Nigel Newkirk. He's going to be another guy that's major on this list. AJ Paul is another one to kind of know off this list. Monshun Sales, if they can kind of, get in better with this commitment. We talked about Darius White. And I will also say watch out for Edge Antoine Jackson as well. Those would be some names to kind of monitor and watch for Alabama, who's high on their list, who obviously want to land and want to get, and names on this list that they want to kind of pull in and land. So definitely keep it tuned for that. Those guys will be major guys to watch this upcoming weekend. And we might even see a couple of commitments as well. So don't lose your hat on that. We could see that also potentially this weekend. Will be interesting storyline to follow. Okay, so those are the official visitors this weekend. All right, now let's look at the Alabama schedule. Again, not too much going on right now. Top 5 opposing offensive tackles on the Alabama schedule this upcoming season. So they have David Sanders. Now, Sanders, guys, is a guy that obviously with a lot of potential, 5-star prospect coming out of high school. Didn't play a whole lot last year, kind of got going towards most season. Remember, he missed a good chunk of the season with the injury, but he's kind of established himself on that offensive line, and he's expected to be one of those guys for them moving forward for the Tennessee Volunteers. So he definitely will be a guy to continue to watch. He was on 3's true freshman All-American team, right? So he will be a sophomore now, and he's expected to start, right? Big time offensive lineman. He feels more comfortable with the scheme and the system. He feels more comfortable, obviously, another year with the offensive line coach. So David Sanders is a really good player. I definitely think not surprised to see him on this list, not surprised to see him as a guy they obviously mentioned, because coming out 5-star prospect, expected to be one of those dudes moving forward, obviously for the Tennessee Volunteers. Next up, they have Ernest Green from Georgia. Obviously, he's been a staple in the offensive line for quite a while. Redshirt senior, so this is following your eligibility. Very experienced player, as I said before. SEC All Freshman team back in 2023. And he's one of those guys. He'll be the leader on this offensive line. Now they got young guys they'll rotate in, like they got Juan Gaston. He'll probably rotate. We know that Dontrell Glover is going to start. But Ernest Green is one they're going to hang their hat on a little bit. And the dude is pretty good, massive, good size, can move well, good big, good technique. Ernest Green III is pretty good. Then you got Jacarius Peak. He's from South Carolina. Remember, they're trying to retool that offensive line for South Carolina, right? It wasn't the best in 2025. So they're trying to kind of glean the most that they can, and they went out and they recruited, did different things like that. And he was a number 8 overall player in the portal, number 2 offensive tackle, right? So remember, South Carolina really went deep to try to improve that team, right? Because the running game didn't hit like I was supposed to last year for South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't get enough out of the passing game from their receivers. So it's a lot of things they wanted to work on to kind of improve. So Jacarius Peak was one of those reasons why. Now we got to see if that matches up. He was highly ranked, played in the ACC. Can we see him come over and be that guy for South Carolina? Is going to be one of the biggest questions. Then you got Lance Hurd. He was another big transfer. I believe he played for let's see, started at LSU for 1 year, and then like I said, I know I remember his name from LSU. I mean, not LSU, Tennessee. So he goes and he plays, kind of coming over all SEC performer for the Vols in 2025, and now he's going to be with Kentucky, which is a team that's kind of in a rebuild a little bit, still figuring some things out, has some talent, new coaches, different things like that. So Kentucky's going to be very interesting to say the least, and I think he nailed it with number one. Definitely Jordan Seaton, NFL caliber type of a prospect. Comes over from Colorado, two-year stint there. Was highly ranked, all Big 12 player. Didn't have as good of a season as he had as his true freshman campaign, but he's still going to be a good guy to watch. And you look at the development, you look at what he can bring to the table, and you look at just his body, how much more in shape he looks, how just the off season, the nutrition, the training, all that, and how that's kind of looking when you watch just certain clips of him. You see that Jordan Seaton is a lot better than what he was, even with Colorado. Now we'll see if that translates to the field, but he certainly should be one of those big time left tackles, protecting the block side of Sam Leavell, and obviously the LSU Tiger. So we'll find out. It'll be a lot of fun to see kind of what happens with them and if he is able to make a major difference this upcoming season. All right, so that is the latest with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let's move on to the Georgia Bulldogs, right? And the Georgia Bulldogs has a major commitment on the board, right? My guy, Jeremy Johnson, we had him on the show, does an outstanding job. They're among the contenders for four-star Joshua Sam-Epelle. Remember, the other contender is South Carolina. Georgia Tech has tried to put their hat into the race as well for Sam-Epelle, who's like 6'8", 6'9", massive offensive lineman, rated pretty high as well. So it's been a really good relationship that we built so far. Sam-Epelle told Dogs is cute. I mean, he came to see me practice last week. He got a little game film on me and all that. So I think that the relationship is only going to get stronger as it is with me and Coach Searles, right? So that's kind of the latest that's going on there. Obviously, they are a contender for him. How do they stack up? So Sam-Epelle feels that it's very open to all the options. He prepares to take his official visits. As of right now, my recruitment is still very open, Sam-Epelle said. Very open in this process. I mean, Georgia is still definitely a top team in this process as well. As of right now, I say Georgia Tech, Tennessee, and Miami are all major contenders as well. So there it is. Georgia Tech, Tennessee, Miami. All teams we cover here on Najee Wilk channel, right? We cover all those teams. So it's going to be very interesting, right? So to me, like South Carolina was big on this list at one point, but it feels like I said, Georgia Tech has put their name into the hat. Georgia's obviously in this race. Tennessee ain't playing around. And Miami might have the infrastructure to kind of show, yo, come here. We got you. Right now, he already took an OV to Georgia Tech, right? So Georgia's going to try to get it. I wouldn't be surprised if they land him, right? Because that just makes the most sense. They show big time guys. You can come in, you can play early if you can play. And I feel like Georgia has a really great plan for their offensive linemen. Better to me than their quarterbacks. If you're a quarterback, you're going to sit at Georgia, bro. That's just a reality situation. But if you are an offensive lineman, the track that they have for you, the development they have for you, and how they get you ready for when your time is to come, I feel like offensive line is probably one of the best positions you could probably go to and thrive as O-lineman. I feel like you see in Miami becoming that team, or not becoming, kind of being that team as well. Like the last two guys, Markel Bell, you obviously look at Francis McGowan. Those guys went into that draft, right? Georgia Tech now is trying to get some burn after seeing obviously Keelan Rutledge go first round of the NFL draft. That says a lot, right? So you're going to start seeing those teams probably attract a lot more talent, right? And Tennessee just got 5-star. We talked about him just a couple minutes ago, and obviously David Sanders, right? They got Gabriel Osenda as well. So those crop of 3 or 4, you can't really go wrong with. But Georgia's been one of those staples. We see so many guys in there in the league. Dylan Fairchild on my favorite team, the Bengals, right? Amarius Mims on my favorite team, right? They got guys all over. Tate Ratledge is on playing for the Lions, right? I keep going. Like Georgia produces NFL offensive linemen. That's just the bottom line. So a lot to think about for Sam-Epelle, but Georgia, I would say, definitely sits in a good spot. So I'm interested to see how his recruitment kind of shakes out. Now, next we're gonna talk about the next breakout player for the Georgia Bulldogs. And Jake Rowe had Joshua Horton. Now, Horton, remember, he was a transfer over. I believe he played for Miami. His 2025 stats: 11 tackles, 5 QB hurries, 1 pass breakup, and 173 total snaps. Obviously, he said he tips the scale of not north of 300 pounds. Proved last season that he's a twitchy athlete who can break the pocket and effective quarterback. There's not major weaknesses in his game, but there are things he must improve upon. He got a good start on those things this offseason, adding weight while shedding body fat. Horton is heavier than he was in his first season at Georgia, but he also is leaner and stronger. Says the Langston Hughes product had a fantastic spring, even if you didn't hear much about it during the real time. He improved his ability to play the run, and that's a big reason why he got so much first team work in the G-Day game. Georgia still holds him in high regard as a pass rusher, right? So what I take away from what Jake Rose said is it's going to be intriguing because Georgia struggled a little bit, right? They haven't been creating pressure like how they have the last few years, right? So obviously we know they're a team that can stop the run, right? But if they can get an interior, not necessarily an edge, they're going to need edge rush help as well. But if they can get an interior person like a Josh Horton, like a Elijah Griffin on the inside that can make a difference, that makes them that much better because then you get in the interior push, then you push in the pocket outside. Now, one thing I will say about Georgia is a very fast team, right? They can come and chase you down. They got them linebackers and them edges and them outside backers that can go get you, right? So if you can start creating more interior pressure that pushes and collapse the pocket, quarterback tries to scramble out, they got a linebacker, safety, corner right there waiting for you. So it's going to be a very, very big year for Josh Horton. He got, like as it says in this article, a lot of first team reps. If he can keep that going, he definitely sits in a good spot to have a lot of PT playing time this upcoming season for Georgia. So they're going to need somebody, and I hate to say it, nobody's saying this about Georgia. They're going to need somebody to step up on the defensive line. Who that's going to be, we're going to find out. But they saying this is the most depth that Georgia has had in quite a long time. So we're going to find out. We're going to see if that is true. All right. There it is. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk about the Texas Longhorns. Now, remember, Texas, excuse me, Texas landed four-star Brock Williams, right? We talked about that recruitment a little bit. Georgia was in the race, several other teams. So it's big recruitment. And the reaction to it is on the channel. My thoughts on it is obviously on the channel and everything like that. But yeah, my thoughts and everything's on the channel. So, but what's next for Texas, right? Who's the next recruit? Now, we talked about in the video when we broke it all down, like they're going to have to land some more guys in that top 30, top 50 if they want a chance to have a top 10 class. Currently sitting like right inside that top 30. But they're going to have to land some of those guys, right? We know several guys is already committed, like an Eastern Royal. Oh my goodness. Like an Eastern Royal. Here we go. I don't know what happened, but we know they got guys committed like Eastern Royal and things like that. They're still trying to get Monshun Sales as well. But for Texas, the key is going to be how do you help supply this squad, right? Like you got wide receiver, you still need a really good back. You got a 3-star running back in there, I believe, but you're going to need a high caliber back if you can. You're going to probably need a couple more weapons to bring into this class to make it top tier, top notch for the 2027 cycle, right? But Brock Williams not a bad start. 6'5", 210. He's going to have to add more, obviously, to his frame, probably about 35, 40 plus pounds to play at a consistent rate, I think, at the next level. But 6'5", 210, you can do a lot with that, right? Top 100 prospect. You're going to need a couple more of those if you Texas and you want a chance. Now, there is a guy there after to try to kind of land out this class, right? And the next guy for them is Mikahi Allen, right? So Mikahi Allen is a big guy they're pushing for. They want, right? He's a 4-star linebacker. They're pushing heavy for him, right? All right. So let's says Cade Hugg, he moved to Kingwood. To Katie fits the ideal Mike role that Cummins will eventually inherit. Now the task is added to the class. One recruit we haven't discussed enough is Mikahi Allen, right? From famed Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey. Allen, a teammate of Texas tight end commit JT Gerasi, will take his official visit to Texas on June 19th. Right? He's a good-hearted young man. He's a 4-year starter for us. That's not common. He's played all 3 levels of defense. He started off as safety his freshman year, moved to linebacker as a sophomore. He's also played some 5 technique. He's multidimensional. He's about 6'3", 230, and runs well. Heck of a basketball player, too. He loves contact. Is very rangy. We've even used him as a kick returner and receiver. You can line him up anywhere. This is sort of athletic profile that transfers well not only college but often to the pros. You may recall Anthony Hill was a multifaceted athlete as well, right? So kind of getting those early comparisons, especially as you see from Billy Tucker, to an Anthony Hill Jr., right? And Anthony Hill is pretty damn good, right? One of the best linebackers you'll definitely see. College ready. Anthony Hill obviously dominated with the Texas Longhorns. So pretty good comparison for them. Now they haven't landed the commitment just yet, but obviously he's a guy that they're trying to bring in and they feel fits that moniker, fits that kind of profile of a Mikahi Allen, or excuse me, of a Anthony Hill Jr. So that's massive for Texas. They already got some pretty good backers, especially in the freshman class. That should see the field a little bit this year. But Mikahi Allen is kind of next up for them, and that's the guy they're obviously recruiting very, very highly. So we'll see if they can land him. I definitely think he'd be a guy that should be able to make a difference for the Texas Longhorns. Coach mentioned the decision timeline of late June or maybe early July. Even went on to say maybe the 4th of July as when he'll probably end up making a decision. So I think that says it right there, man. When you see his comparisons to Anthony Hill Jr., and you see a guy with Anthony Hill Jr. who dominated at the collegiate level, that's big time praise, I think, from Mikahi Allen. So he's next up. That's a guy that recruited and pitching hard that they think has a chance to potentially be a Texas Longhorn. So watch out for him and everything he can obviously bring to the table. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about Slim Leavell. Right now, I did a YouTube video and I'm gonna give you guys my quick thoughts and I'm gonna roll a clip. Back pedal. Probably gonna be responsible for this guy high in the air and go and gets the interception. Exactly what you want to see here, right? Quarterback kind of throws it up for grabs. Can you be a playmaker on the defensive back end? And obviously, right here, Slim Leavell shows he can do that and come over top and make an acrobatic interception over the offensive player. So we love to see that. And then here's the versatility. Can play both sides of the field. Right here, good release off the line, right? Quick and to the point. Watch it one more time, y'all, as y'all can see there. Just one step and he goes forward. One step, boom. He already beats his defender right here, right? Defender's backpedaling and he has all this leverage on this side of the field. Create that separation. Quarterback throws it right in the bucket. Easy touchdown. And he killed him just off the split of the route. Being able to create that quick first step, create that separation, and then it was over with. It was a wrap. It was a wrap. All right, right here, love this. He added a little bit of special teams to his bag. Right here coming, boom. Mm, that's how you lay it. That's how you come. You hit somebody in their damn mouth. Bam. Exactly what you want to see. Force fumble. And that's a play I would even move up because it shows your intensity. It shows the ability to come downhill. And it shows the ability to be a contributor in special teams. Remember, people sleep on that. But at the next level, you have to be a contributor on special teams. I would actually move that play up if I was Slim Leavell. Right here, looks like the offense is trying to run a double move. Let's see, he's playing off, so this is off coverage instead of press. Right here, staying disciplined, and then boom, the receiver tries to put his foot in the ground and go past Leavell. Let's see what he does here. Great position, nowhere for him to throw, and it just starts by the discipline, kind of knowing what's coming, not being flat-footed, and being able to adjust to the football and make a play. That's the name of his game. He does that very well. Right here, nice little simple release, create that separation, get over top of the defender, easy touchdown right there. So he's getting them. Excuse me, y'all. He's getting them with the quick little hesitation, and he's creating enough separation where he could just run smooth past them. Sorry about that, y'all. Excuse me. Oh, that's perfect right here. So here, that's just gonna be a simple dig route on the inside. Make sure I'm not muted. I'm not muted. And I love how he closes down this play. Right, quarterback throws that late. That's a tight window, three guys around, and look at him just close that space. And goes and gets the football. Bad mistake by the quarterback, but great job of staying with the play if you Leavell. And here a little quick screen, and you see what he can do with the ball in his hands. Look at that, just making two people miss. Quick cuts, easy money touchdown right there. Right here, just playing a little bit off, and then here it is. So he's really responsible for this guy, but love that even though this is not necessarily his assignment, right? Because he's going to pretty much cover that flat. He's responsible for this guy right here. Leavell is going to be responsible for that kind of third of the field and responsible for this guy. But he sees it immediately, right? Back up, back up. Okay, he already sees the quarterback is coming here. And immediately, boom. Good aggressive tackle in the open field, brings him straight to the ground. And once again, special teams, just being a playmaker on the field for your team. Punt block. do a little bit of everything. Offense, defense, special teams. I can see why Tennessee wants this player. He affects the game in all three phases, which is what you want from a player on your team. There it is, y'all. As y'all heard in the video, right about 3 minutes, like I'll run the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to show y'all why I'm high on Slim Leavell. I think he has a very high upside. And I think, like you said, just right there, he affects the game in all three phases. He is a proponent that can affect the team. Now, what he will play at the next level, I don't know. Is it DB? Is it receiver? He can do a little bit of everything, man. I think you're seeing more versatile players. So Slim Leavell has a bright future. That's kind of my thoughts. And the big thing for him, it goes back just to relationships, right? That was very important to him. Obviously, that was written by VolQuest to their writer Austin Price. Relationships was pretty much very vital in this recruitment. And obviously Tennessee landing this three-star prospect. And some fans don't, get all caught up in the stars and stuff. It matters. It don't matter at the same time. Says I think relationships that I have there and what they can do for me as far as develop me into, for one, obviously a great football player, but to be a better person is somebody who could potentially be successful. Leavell said, I believe Tennessee is the right fit for me. With them being basically my hometown team or home state team, I believe Tennessee is a perfect opportunity for me to chase my dreams. Something that emphasizes, like I said, development, just what they can do. Leavell said, I had a great conversation with Coach Jones that he was talking to me about how he developed and how he developed guys and what I've seen from those guys so far and where they came from. I believe that those secondary coaches are some of the best in the business, right? So there it is there, right? That is what pretty much sold him on obviously Tennessee, the Volunteers, and becoming a Tennessee Volunteer, right? And I think they got a real steal landing obviously this player. All right. Now we're gonna go to a player that I think is the next big breakout that nobody's talking about enough, and that is Javon Gordon. Now, Javon Gordon had a big time spring, obviously left a lot of people in awe, had that big 50+ yard run. But here he is right here with Beckwith Sports Group, Beckwith Sports Academy, excuse me, training and getting ready for the next season. All right. So I want you to check out this clip, y'all, and just see him putting in that work and training for next year. I know if I had to, I could try it over. So here, obviously, letting you guys see it. I see a big time lower frame, a guy that's getting in and out of cuts quick, getting up the field, making big time cuts, strong lower body, as I said, which is gonna make it good for him and hard to bring down. And it don't take him long to kind of make that break and go. That obviously is just a training session, but that is what I'm seeing from Javon Gordon. And like I said, I think the kid has a bright future ahead. Excuse me, very dynamic and has all the tools, man, to be one of those guys, right? So we've seen it in obviously the spring game, and I think we're going to see more of it going forward for obviously Javon Gordon, and I think he's going to be a major contributor alongside Deshaun Bishop this upcoming year, man. And he's going to be one of those dudes Tennessee fans need to know obviously more about, man. So that's my thoughts. That's my next breakout player, big time, obviously recruitment and getting him from the portal from Tulane, and I think he's going to be a guy that contributes this year for Tennessee. I can see easily over 800+ yards rushing this year for him behind that big offensive line. I know they want to throw the ball, but running the ball might be your best friend if you are Tennessee offensive coordinator, head coach Josh Heupel, just to make things easier for your quarterback. Who we'll see who starts. We heard about buzz about Faison Brandon. Giving it the ball to Javon Gordon and Sean Bishop could also be a pretty good thing as well. So something definitely obviously to think about. All right, couple more before we end off the show, man. Let's talk about Georgia Tech real quick. All right, one breakout candidate that I want you guys to obviously know more about, right? So when I bring up this name, right, everybody's talking about Justice Haynes. Everybody's gonna talk about Malachi Hosley. Nobody's talking about JP Powell though. And I think JP Powell is poised for a big time year, man. I think he's gonna make some major damage this season for the Georgia State Yellow Jackets. Has a bright future ahead. He had 68 rushing yards in the spring game on just 3 carries, y'all. Just 3 carries, and he had a 56-yard scamper for obviously a touchdown. Now, for me, I think obviously you look at the dynamic duo of Justice Haynes, Malachi Hosey, the guys that can play obviously at a high level. They can obviously make a big difference. Obviously, bright futures and things like that. But I think he is a name to know because JP Powell is someone that he's very efficient with his touches, right? It don't take him too much to obviously, take a step forward. It doesn't take him too much to make a a big impact on the field, right? And you see it throughout, obviously, his career with Georgia Tech, right? You see him, making big plays. You see him obviously making people miss. And I think for him, right, this is the year he could break out because a lot of the tension is going to be on Justice Haynes, right? And I think he's going to be there. Last year I know he nursed an injury a little bit, but I think for Powell, the opportunity is, hey, I can put you in and I can get a big time play. Sometimes we will see Chad Alexander come in there. Sometimes we will see guys like Traylon Maddox come in there, right? But we wouldn't see the same kind of explosive play. I think JP Powell obviously specializes in that. I think he's a guy, he doesn't need much to get going. He don't need much to make a difference. And he's a guy that if he gets one sliver of space, I think he's dynamic with the ball in his hands, and I think he's going to be tough to slow down and catch, right? So I just think this kid is going to have something to say this year. And I ain't saying he's going to throw rush for 1,000 yards, but when you go and you look at the numbers and the stats, right, you see a guy, okay, he has 1,000 yards plus with Justice Haynes. Malachi Hosey has 800 yards. I feel like Powell could be that guy that has 500 yards rushing this year and a couple of touchdowns, 5 or 6 touchdowns this year, right? That's for some that may be breakout. Some people it may not, right? It depends on your definition of breakout. That is subjective, right? It could be all ACC caliber season. It could be 1,000+ yard running. That's not my definition of breakout. My definition of breakout is making a big impact for your team. Nobody was been talking about you. You've been flying under the radar, but you come in and you surprise people with your touches. Limited touches as it is, he might get 45 carries this year, but I think he could be a guy that makes big time splash plays with those carries. And if he's getting those 25, 30, 35+ yard runs, you look the hell out if you're Georgia Tech, and you look the hell out if you're ACC, because this is a guy that can make that difference and make those big time plays and potentially harm other defenses, man. So he's my breakout candidate, and he's a guy I think is going to have a big time year. All right. Now, under the radar players who could obviously be fall camp risers, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Put y'all on game, man. Daquan White is one for me, right? Now I mentioned him on Locked On Georgia Tech. I really believe that this guy is up next. I really believe that Daquan White has the potential. He had a very productive spring. It was talked about a lot. And you look at his ability to read and react, his physicality, his ability to tackle. It reminds you a little bit of Amari Harvey, right? So for him, it's going to be interesting because is it Zach Toby on the outside boundary, or is it going to be Daquan White, or will they split reps? We know Ibaka is going to likely get the other boundary spot, but who's going to be opposite side of him, right? That's going to be one of the biggest questions this upcoming year for Georgia Tech. What do you decide to do with the outside boundary cornerback position, right? So we're going to have to figure that part out if you're Georgia Tech. I feel like Daquan White's going to be the guy, being a senior, being a veteran, second year with the program. I think Daquan is equally equipped to be that guy for Georgia Tech and to be that guy that makes those big-time plays. I just think he has all the tools. I think he's special. I think he makes big plays. And I think he's a guy that we need to talk more about when we talk about under the radar guys that can have a big impact this year for Georgia Tech. And I think Daquan White is going to be one of those guys that can make that impact for Georgia Tech this upcoming year. Just my thoughts, just what I see personally, but I think he's one of those dudes. All right. Also, Chris Corbo. Chris Corbo didn't play a lot this spring, y'all, right? He was out dealing with the injury, you know what I'm saying? And they decided, let him kind of recover, come back for the summer and obviously fall camp. I think it was a wise choice. I think it was a good choice, a good decision. You let him heal up. You let him get right for the season. And I think what was good for Georgia Tech, you let Kevin Roche Jr. get a lot of those reps, get that experience, get those reps, be able to make a difference. And what Corbo kind of inserted there, I think for Georgia Tech, you've gotten a lot better, right? Because now you got another guy, Spencer Rivers will be probably your blocking tight end. You got three legit weapons at the tight end spot, in addition to Kevin Roche Jr., right? So you have your pick of the litter. Gavin Harris is dynamic. He's basically a wide receiver playing tight end. You also have Roche Jr., who could be a red zone threat, and obviously a big-time guy with an the field. And you have Corbo. So to me, you can run 13 personnel, 12 personnel, whatever you want to decide to do for Georgia Tech, you can pretty much do with Corbo, alongside with Kevin Roche Jr. and Gavin Harris. So he's an under-radar player because he's not going to be talked about a lot because of the injury, but he can come in and easily make an impact this upcoming year. And my last player for Georgia Tech was definitely going to be Kevin P. Right now, the offensive line struggled a little bit. Got to see kind of what happens next. But Kevin P is going to be a guy I think can get that left guard spot for them, right? Right guard is going to be Malachi Carney. Right tackle will probably be Jamison Riggs. The center will likely be Joseph Ionata. Left guard, I think, is going to probably be Kevin P. Right? So pretty cool for him because he redshirted last year, played very sparingly, but now he's expected to be the guy for the Georgia State offensive line alongside Ethan McKinney, who will be the left tackle. So big time year for Kevin P because he can lock down that spot for years to come, the next at least 2 years. And if he can live up to his potential, live up to his ranking, he could easily be an all ACC caliber player and potentially be another player that would look at, oh wow, Georgia State has another interior offensive lineman. That's a stud that can go to the league, that people want, that can go potentially early in the NFL draft. We'll see what happens, but Kevin P is going to be a name to watch this upcoming year on the offensive line to see obviously what he does. All right. So we're going to leave it there. Those 3 under the radar players. We're going to look at finally my Miami Hurricanes, a little bit of the outlook. This is from Matt Shodell. This is obviously what he had to say. Quarterback, he did a little outlook, obviously talking about Carson Beck. We know now it's going to be obviously Darian Mensah. A guy to continue to watch, 3,900 yards passing, 34 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Obviously, very dynamic with the ball in his hands. Running back wise, pretty much bring back everybody. You got Mark Fletcher, Marty Brown, who added 487 yards and 7 scores. Gerard Pringle, who has 375 yards and 4 scores. Jordan Lyle, who won a starting job off of 2025 fall camp, but suffered an ankle injury in game 1 and never recovered from. So Jordan Lyle will be back. He's going to have something to say about kind of being in that rotation. Javian Mallory flashed in the spring, so he's going to be one to continue to watch. Right, and obviously got the power guys in Fletcher and Brown, and then the speed with Pringle. So at the running back spot, feel pretty good, pretty loaded, pretty deep. Wide receiver, who will be wide receiver 2 for us? Biggest question here, right? Is it Vendrius Jacobs? Is it Cam Vaughn? Right? Who in the hell is going to help Malachi? Malachi Tony. I almost said Malachi Carter. Excuse me. Who's going to help Malachi Tony? Right now, I put my faith in Cooper Barcade because I've seen that boy do it. Now, Cooper Barcade is a bad boy, right? He that one. He that gas. He can play. But who's going to be kind of the next guy for him? Is it Dalen Upshaw? Right? Can he make a difference? Is it second-year Josh Moore? Is it Samorian Wingo? We're going to have to find out. But I feel like Barcade is going to probably be that guy. Now we got to find out who else is going to be on the opposite slot because they're likely going to put Malachi Tony in the slot. And he's going to probably get 2 people on him a lot this season. So who else can win one-on-one is going to be the biggest question. My money's on Cooper Barcade, who I seen cook Georgia Tech defense, cook several ACC defenses last year when he was in. But hopefully one of these other young thoroughbreds step up alongside Cooper Barcade and Malachi Tony that can help out this group. So those are the names I'm definitely watching this upcoming season. Tight end will be very interesting. Elijah Lofton is going to be the next guy, obviously, in line for the Miami Hurricanes. They also brought in Alex Ballman, who's expected to be, probably one of those guys that starts for them. 166 receiver yards. We'll see how he is as a blocker. So he'll be obviously one to watch. Jackson Carver is another one. Jack Nickel is coming off an injury. He's one of the big blocking tight ends who obviously helps him out in the run game. So we'll see what happens there. And then offensive line-wise will be the biggest question. No Francis McGowan, no Markel Bell, all going off obviously to the league, right? Also all ACC guard Inez Cooper. Markel Bell, we talked about James Brockermeyer. So only one returning is Matthew McCoy. So who else will help out this offensive line? Samson Akunloa is also solid. He's expected to help this team. Jackson Cantwell, who will probably be the starting left tackle, is going to be a guy. Ryan Rodriguez and then Max Buchanan will probably all contribute on the offensive line. But it may take time for these guys to gel. It may take time for these guys to figure things out, right? And be stake makers on this team next season. So we're going to find out. The biggest concern is, can this offensive line still be good? And the playmakers on the outside, I think, is going to be the biggest question of who can step out outside of wide receiver 1, right? Feel like it's Cooper Barcade, but any of those young thoroughbreds, will they be ready to go? That's kind of my thoughts there, man. And obviously, Miami is also trending for a 2026 offensive prospect, right? And that name, it looks like it is going to be Eli Woodard. Eli Woodard, they are currently trending for right now. Hurricanes have been working on Woodard throughout the offseason, visiting him twice in the spring. Miami's wide receiver coach Kevin Beard is doing a fantastic job and could close sooner rather than later. Miami also has a California connection on the staff with safeties coach Will Harris. Miami recently landed, obviously we know they flipped Long Beach Poly cornerback Dante Wright, who obviously flipped his pledge from Georgia. But there's buzz that we've been hollering at him. I'm trying to get Eli Woodard as well. So Eli Woodard is one to know. And obviously he'll be the replacement to Amari Stevens, who's now committed to LSU, and obviously they moved on from Stevens, and now they're trying to obviously let Eli Woodard as a name to kind of know. But that's going to do it for today's show, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Hope you guys enjoy. We'll have more news. It's kind of slow right now, so we're going to do probably heavily recruiting. Any recruiting news we see, if I have time and I'm chilling, if I see a Miami commit or if I see a Georgia Tech commit, definitely Georgia Tech. If I see Tennessee or Alabama and if there's a film out there, I try to break down that film, man, and post it on the channel as well, man. But light week this week, man, really recruiting news heavy because we know the recruiting season is about to heat up and guys going to be committing left and right. And any big news we see, probably in the summer, especially with media days not too far off, will be something to definitely watch moving forward. But that's all we got for today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And please let me know any topics you guys want me to discuss moving forward. Till then, it is obviously the Truth with Najeh Wilkins, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.